Hi there, welcome to the Rust Covered Cottage. My name is Joey and my page that I'm associated with, that I have here on Facebook, is called Created in Awe. I am a guest here by Christina to show you one of the wood kits that she has on the website. I'm one of her affiliates, brand ambassador, because we have a collection together. This is part of it, called Farmhouse Charm, inspired by Joey, and we have released our entire fall winter set of kits that's been on the site for a couple of weeks now, and this is one of them. I'm so glad that Christina allowed me to be here to show it to you. Thank you so much, Christina. We are going to get started here in just a minute. This one is called Jingle Bells. Jingle Bell. It's just one bell. Jingle Bell door hanger. She has a set of smaller bells, much like this, like a 2 or 3 in the set that are like about this big. I asked her if we could do a bigger one, more like a door hanger. Now this is a smallish door hanger because I think it's going to look really, really cute in a wreath. I like to do a lot of pieces that go in wreaths, like, here we go. This is what I'm thinking of. Our little snowman breadboard would be super cute in the middle of a wreath that you have all snowy looking with snowballs or snowflakes and such. I think that would be really cute. Same thing with our bell. So you can have a cute bell decor without it ring-a-dinging if you don't want it constantly making noise on your door. And it's fun to put together. I see Laurel is here. Hello. You're doing wonderful, James. That is so good to hear. And if I missed any hellos, I will come back, or I will try to catch up as we go, and then also Christina will come back. So this is our Jingle Bell door hanger. So you've got a 3-layered bell. Okay, super simple. This is really basic. Okay, you've just got a bell. Now you've got the little crossbar. You know, it looks like the little ring around the middle of it that holds technically the bell's 2 pieces together. And then we have a back layer and a top layer to the body of it. The reason is you want some dimension back here. You want to be able to have these cutouts. You don't want them, you know, scored in or etched in or engraved. You want them to really give some definition. So we have 2 layers to our bell. Makes it really nice and sturdy. Again, you can hang it on your door, hang it over your mantle, or in a wreath is what I think would be cute. And then you have your crossbar, plus we added in some stars that you get to do whatever you want to with. I'll show you what I'm going to do with them in a little while. Mine are, you know, they might go on the bell itself. I'm going to kind of play with that, but not all of them. So you have 4, and there are 4 of them, and I think, yeah, we have 2 large size stars, and then a medium and a small. Okay, so you get to play with this, and I can't wait to see how you guys do it. Oh, thank you, Brenda. Appreciate it. Tomorrow is a wash day, so it's kind of up and out of the way today. Let's get started. We're doing a red bell, okay? Now, I want it to be a rusty red bell. So, my back piece doesn't need to be painted over all, except what's going to show underneath here. So, I'm going to go ahead and paint the front, and we'll glue it together in the crossbar, and then I'm also going to paint these areas here a different color, and then we're going to rust it up. We're going to have some fun with it. So let's set the back aside. I'm going to grab one of the cardboard pieces. When you get Christina's kits, she lays them out on a cardboard backer and seals it up with plastic so that things are laying generally where they're going to be glued together, so you get a good idea of how it's going to look. And then I always like to use these to save my surface. They're surface savers, I guess you could call them, because you can paint against them. So we're going to go ahead and go with crimson. I want a pretty bright red so that when I tone it down, you can still see the red. What's the other? This is Waverly. There's another red color I've used. Oh, I think, is it over here? It's a little bit dark. No, that's the pink. I probably ran out of it. But there's a deeper red if you want a really dark red. It's more like almost a barn red color. This one is more of a Christmassy red. Art by Shirley. How are you? Welcome in. So we're going to do probably 2 coats. Even with a chalk paint, you tend to need 2 coats of red, but we're going to see. We're going to go ahead and put it on both of these pieces real quick. And I forgot to put the link in here. Kit. And I am an affiliate to Christina. So if you use the link that I put in the description or the one in the comments, it does help me out. I appreciate it. But you don't have to. You can go straight to her site if you want to. And I won't pin that, only because I know that sometimes that gets in the way of the comments. It doesn't get out of your vision, so you can't see what we're doing. So if you guys can help me remember at the end, I will pin it then and see if it can be helpful to you. You got a gingerbread cookie cut out the last time. Christina's so sweet and talented. I know, she really is. She has the best kits. She really does. You know, and I'm a little partial to the ones that she and I work on together. Maybe kind of. I could have put this on the bell before we started painting, and I didn't. That probably would have been smart. I like to start in the middle, and I use a sponge dauber because it goes a whole lot faster. And on big areas, I just swipe from the middle to the outside. If there's an edge, I try not to get too much of the red paint on the edge. Now this time I will get some. We're going to, because I want it to all kind of have that same look. But I try not to get too much because then it takes a while to dry. And the sponge dauber keeps it from getting really heavy anywhere, on the bell or on the edges. So let's go ahead and get this painted up. Now, a lot of times on her kits, you're going to see really small pieces like letters and shapes that go onto them. And these sponge daubers are helpful because you can just dab, dab, dab to get the paint onto those little surfaces, kind of like this. And then when you get it mostly covered, you just do a little swipe to smooth it out. Okay. So that's why I'm doing that around this shape, so that I don't swipe a whole bunch of paint around in those cutout areas. You like my kits, Peggy? They are fun. I have fun picking them out with her. Okay, there's a pretty good coat. Now I do see the wood grain through it. You probably can't on your end. Oh, that's such a pretty red. But you get to decide if you want full heavy coverage with a really bright red, or whatever color. You could go with a white bell, you could go with a silver bell, you could go with a completely rusty bell, whatever you want to do. So you could give it a couple of coats if you need to. So once again, I'm starting in the middle and I'm swiping toward the outside edge. Don't need a whole lot of paint on this guy. Okay. Whoop. I don't think I'm going to go with a second coat since we are going to be rusting it anyway. I think having a little bit of that wood grain coming through is just going to add some character. Now, do check to make sure you didn't miss spots. Glasses are going to help me. Put my glasses on. Tuscan red. Somebody said something about Tuscan. From Apple Barrel would be pretty. That's another. Okay, I don't know the color names of other ones, so definitely drop those colors in. If I know Christina has some really pretty paints on her website from Paint Couture. It's a category on her site. You can go shop around and find some really pretty colors there. I know she has some reds, greens. She has all the Christmas colors in there, like even a bundle of them. And they come in these little small 2-ounce jars like this. So if you just want to test out the color before you get a bigger one, you can do that. Okay. Check in. That looks pretty good. Looks really good. I think I'm done. I'm done with the red. Well, no. You know what? I'm done for now. I don't want to do any of the edges just yet. I'll come back. So we'll have to use a different applicator because I want to go ahead and get that in the water so I can wash it. I reuse these as many times as I can. I'm going to work on the stars and on the backboard. Let's go ahead and do the stars next so that we can work with the rest of it here in a minute. I want to be able to handle this, and it's going to stay wet for a couple minutes. So let's go ahead and make our stars. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to go gold. I have like an antique gold color. Yeah, antique gold from Folk Art Metallic. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. Let's get a smaller sponge dauber, and we're gonna go ahead and paint all of these up. I don't know if I'm gonna use all of them. Probably will, but get and start in the middle. Now this paint is much thinner, being a regular acrylic paint. So we'll see how the coverage looks. It's coming off pretty thin. I don't think I'm going to rust the stars. Should I? Give me your opinion on that. Since we are going to rust the bell, I don't know if the stars should be rusted or not. I don't know. That to me it kind of sounds strange to have rusty stars, only because I'm not painting them as rust color to start with. They're starting out gold. What do you think? We could start out gold and then we could rust them. Vicky's here. Thank you for sprinkling it out. Appreciate it. Now, if anyone out there is new to Christina's kits, know that when you're shopping on her site, first of all, she has different categories in the menus, so you can go straight to a season that you're looking for. If you're done with Christmas and you're moving on to winter, or you even looking at Valentine's, she has all seasons and holidays of the year covered with kits on her website, so you can find those in her menus or by searching a holiday or season name. She also has different collections, like My Farmhouse Turn by Joey is a collection. She has another brand ambassador, Jamie, who has the barn quilt squares, and she has a category on there as well. So you can shop in all different ways. And whenever you get her kits, drop them in your cart, go check out. There is no shipping added. It is the price you see on the website is what you end up paying at the end for those kits. So no shipping is added. Let me take a look at these. Yeah, I'm going to go with a thinner coat. I like the texture of the wood grain coming through. I don't want it to be too perfect looking. So that's it for the gold. Again, that is a multi-surface folk art antique gold. Okay. Now, is this dry? This is almost dry. Let's set these over to the side so they can finish drying. We'll give them the rust effect here in a few minutes after we do this part. Hi there, Chris. How are you? Christina's here. Yay. How are you? Okay. I'm going to line this up. I want the underneath to be black. I want it to look like, you know, really dark, the inside of the bell. I don't want you to see the red color. I don't want it to be, you know, wood color. I want it to be black. So I am going to take a pencil so that I'm not painting the whole darn thing. And I'm just going to make a little mark at the top and at the bottom of the inside. So I've got these little marks, and then I'm just going to paint these areas the black color just to save me a little time. Lots of fun. Yes, I posted about that. If you guys saw my post, I know it was very late notice telling you I was going to be here today, but if you saw that, I posted pictures of at least some of the new kits that Christina dropped on the website. Was it just yesterday, last night, and early this morning? Yes. So make sure you go over there and shop. This is not loading up on my brush. Okay, you don't need a whole lot. We're just going to work in this area. Let's start by getting the paint and spread it around. There we go. Now, I'm going to do a little quick check to make sure everything is covered, including my hand. Yep, we've got the black all covered. Now I need to let it dry. Oh, get my sponge down in the water. Should have rolled my sleeves up instead of just pushed them up. That's all I need with the black. And my red is on. Oh, flakes of black. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my bell together, and then we are going to get it rusted after that. I'm using what's called art glitter glue. It is a permanent water-based glue that you can get on Amazon. You can use wood glue. You can use stick fast. You can use super glue. You can use hot glue if you want. I don't typically recommend hot glue on these because you get kind of a thick gap between your pieces because that hot glue is so thick it doesn't spread very well. These thinner glues spread and you get full contact with your pieces. So that's usually a bigger deal when it comes to your small pieces. Okay, get plenty. Okay, I think we have enough. I got myself a new bottle of glue, so there is plenty in it. Okay, we're gonna line these up. I got too much in spots. That's okay, we'll clean it out. Okay, make sure you're lined up. Now it will move a little bit when you smash it down, so I'm smashing it to get full contact, and you can just let it set and dry if you want to. Usually this glue takes a few minutes to set up. Let me get a paintbrush. Everything is in full contact. I mean, this is, Christina gets really good quality wood, so you're not going to have warping where your pieces don't meet. If that happens, for example, if you let, your wood sit for a long period of time, it gets exposed to water or something, and you have any warping happen, this is 1/4 inch thick birch. This is good quality. It's not MDF. It's not that thin stuff. But if you let that happen, just use clamps, like the ones you can get from Dollar Tree. These are the big ones. You can get the small ones. Clamp it together around the edges while it's drying. This is a quick set glue. It's not immediate. It does take a couple of minutes. I'm just getting that glue out that oozed, and that's all I need to do there. Okay, so this is going to set up, and we're going to put the bar across the middle. Actually, I'm going to wait. I'm going to rust it, and then I'm going to put the bar across the middle so that it kind of stands out. If I rust it along with the rest of it, then I'm going to get it around this on the bell, and then it won't stand out quite as much. So we'll do that separate. So we won't glue it yet. And I'm going to get quick. Sip. I've got a fan going in here, and it kind of tends to dry out my throat. Okay, my stars are dry. All right, so for the rust effect, you can do Mod Podge with cinnamon. You can do, what else works? You can get rust colored paints. I do a concoction here, and that's just because I have this copper colored Deco Art metallic paint. It's actually just called copper. And I like mixing it with brown, so I use truffle usually. And I can play with the color a little bit. I can get it exactly the depth I want. I'm going to use quite a bit of this, and it ends up usually needing more brown than copper. But I don't mix it in the beginning. I mix it as I go. I put it together in a little tray, and I use a sponge dauber, usually a pretty small one. You can also use a brush. Oh, well, that one's a little too small. Don't need one that small. I guess this is the smallest I have available right now. You can also use a brush to get it into the smaller areas. Hang on a second though. Let's put some red paint on that edge just so it doesn't start off that brown. What happened to that little tiny sponge dauber I had? There it is. Let's just get a little bit more red paint. Oh, hang on. Yes! Oh, congratulations, Christina. New granddaughter coming. Someone says, about to make the snowman cutting board. Oh, for Peggy. Oh, that's awesome. There is a rust bundle. I totally forgot about that. That's going to be cool. That will come in very handy if you like the rusty effect on things. Okay, so this is pretty well set up, and I am going to kind of go over this. I'm not getting full coverage. Whoops. We need red, not rust yet. And then we're going to get this dry and get going on the rust. I hope I don't get bogged down doing the rest. Sometimes I do, because I like to start pretty light with it and then add. See, I want some of this red to be able to peek through. So I'm not worried about those crevices. We'll just make those rusty because they'll take more time than we need to worry about. I just put my hand in the red paint? That's okay. It is a little flat on the bottom, so that if you wanted to kind of stand it up, it's not going to be a shelf sitter because it's not super thick, but you can rest it against something, like if you lean it up on a shelf or on your mantle. I think this is going to end up on my mantle. I've been doing a lot of those projects so far this season. See, it's getting much darker as it dries. So let's come back and add a few spots of bright. Oh, I didn't get in here. Hang on, let me get the side of my sponge dauber. I need inside here. And it doesn't have to be on the underneath of the handle, but we are. We're doing some. Let's keep going and adding a second layer where it's dried and I want it brighter. Not even, just in a few spots here and there. Okay, let's go with that. Get it where I'm not going to lean into it, and we'll dry it. Okay, let's check the hands because I've got red paint. Just making sure it's dry. I don't care if paint's on my hands as long as it's not wet and getting on other stuff. Alrighty, let's dry these outside edges real quick so that we don't mix the paint colors. You want layers of color when it comes to rusting. You don't want to mix it together. In fact, we can start on this guy and the stars while this dries. So we don't have to sit here with the dryer forever. Let's just slide it over and we'll rust up some stars. Okay, so here we go. We're going to mix our two colors. I'm just going to dab, and right where they meet, we're just going to get a blend. Okay, now there's a whole lot of copper on there. I'm going to swipe it off. And then you can see it's just a blend of color. And I'm going to go around the edges. Gotta be able to pick up my stars. Go around. And we're starting off with definitely a mixture, like a soft blend of color but it's going to work together as you go over it a couple more times. And I can come in with a little more of the brown. Okay, this one's getting very rusty. That's okay. I'm trying not to do all of it, but I started off with the edges and I worked into the middle, and I'm going to take some of this off. I'm going to dab some of it back off, and I'm softening the copper color a little bit with this instead of the sponge dauber. So this is almost completely rusted, and it kind of dried it. So you can see an orangey kind of metallic tint to it, and that's the rusty effect. So let's kind of go on this guy a little less, but we're still going to blend. I'm going to leave some of the gold showing on it. There we go. So we've got some gold still. I'm going to kind of soften it where it's really super bright. There. Just softened it a little bit. And okay. That one has a little bit less. Still see some of a lot more of the gold. And then maybe we'll just, let's see. Even less on this one. Whoop! I say less, and then I just dabbed a bunch on. Got to soften where it looks real heavy right there. There. There we go. So we've got our 3 stars done. Let's go ahead and do the crossbar. Now I focus on these bigger pieces. I'm going to focus on the outside edges with the rust effect. But we're going to come in a little bit. So I'm starting at the edge and then I'm bringing it up into. Now sometimes you can get a rusty type look if you use dark wax also. Okay, I'm going to dab this. I'm taking off some of it and blending it. Okay, now I'm just going to lightly add a little bit more. Let's get a little bit here. If you think you have too much, you can dab it off on your cardboard or on your paper towel. And this is just softening the overall red a little bit. Don't really want that to look round like my sponge dauber. There we go. Okay, so you can see a little bit of a metallic look coming through. There we go. And I can add more later. And we are all dry, so let's go ahead. I'm going to start at the edges. Okay, so I'm going to put rust on an edge and then bring it in toward the interior. So we're going to get some more on here and soften it, kind of swipe it off. Pretty fingernails. They're getting rusty looking now. Thank you, Peggy. Okay, so I've got my rust, and then it's coming in. Now if it's looking like you're getting round spots from your sponge dauber. Oh, my son just came home. Hang on. I'm going to have to go close the door. Hang on a second. When my son comes in the door, Maggie goes crazy, and she just can't help herself. So let me close this door real quick. He is home for the Thanksgiving holiday. He had to come in for a dental appointment. Oh, I'm so excited to see him. See him here in just a minute. He won't want to come on camera, so he won't be coming in here, I can tell you that. And this is going to be covering up here. So on these two ends, I'm going to go ahead and put rust around these ends just to match the rust that I put on the ends there. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and rust up part of the handle. And see, you can tell that I really get two-tone of color to start with, but I'm going to blend it out. Give a little more of the, there we go. And I like to do this simply because I don't like the mess of the cinnamon. I just don't do that with my projects. A lot of people love doing the cinnamon, and I love the effect that it gives, but I don't like dealing with the mess of it. So I just do it with paint. Because you have to do the Mod Podge, and then you have to get some on the inside here. And then you have to seal it down. It just, to me, it just goes everywhere. So I just do this. Okay, so we've got that. That'll stand out. Let's go ahead and rust around these. I didn't want to put it inside there, but I can touch that up with the black paint. Get a little bit more out here. I try to get the paper towel to it pretty quickly before it dries so that I don't have those little semicircles. Let's just put some on paper towel. Okay, so that's going to have a really good rusty area. We'll come on down over here. Full effect. Okay, so now we need to do some bottom edges. I want some up here. I'm going to put it on my paper towel to kind of fill in and soften in between the rusty spots. Okay. Now I'm going to do this edge down here. Bring it on around and over here. Whoop. Need more inside. Sometimes I just have to slow myself down. I start going too fast and it's it gets away from me a little bit. Let's add some more because that's kind of gotten... Okay, now let's see what else we want to do. Okay, I need a little bit up in here. Let's just go. Smooth it out. Okay, let's see how we're looking. That looks good. Oh, that looks good. Going back over a couple of the spots that have really heavy copper. There. What do you think? Haven't glued this little bar on yet, but doesn't that look good? Okay. I think I'm happy with the rest. So, get that out of here and put this up. And I will spray, okay, gotta find a spot in my little jar here. Here we go. I will spray this whole project with a matte sealer. This is the one I use, but any of the ones that are the non-yellowing, this is Rust-Oleum 2X Ultra Cover in matte. I like a matte finish so that there is no shine, so it looks as rustic as it can. Looks just like it did when you put the chalk paint on, and you don't have to worry about the chalk paint. You know, sometimes if it's exposed to elements, it can run a little bit if it gets wet, or it can gather more dirt and look more dingy, although we probably don't really care if it looks more dingy. That's not important. Let's go ahead and glue this on. Let's see, I wanted that up here. Making sure it's lined up with those outside edges, and your bell is pretty much done. Now, like I said, you can put the stars anywhere you want. I'm going to attach them in a couple of places. So I have a rope that, this is just a scrap from the Dollar Tree rope. And I'm going to tie it on. I don't mind if the ends are frayed. In fact, I want them frayed a little bit more. But I need to get this tape off. This was how it came with the tape on it, and I don't need it now. There. So we'll fray this end a little bit. And I want this to actually hang down. This is not going to be the hanger for the bell. You can make, of course, jute or a ribbon or whatever you want as the hanger. But I want this to kind of hang down along with some greenery. So I have, this is actually an old little sprig of greenery with a red bow that I've had for years. So I'm thinking, I don't know yet if I'm going to keep the bow on here. There's an extra bow on it. There's 2 layers that I was using that ribbon to hang it with way back when. Okay, so, because this was like the hanger. So I don't know if I'm going to take that red ribbon off. I kind of like the fact that it's a little bit old and beat up. Let's go ahead and turn the hot glue on. If this is going on my front door, which I don't think it will. I think this is going to go on my mantle. I'm not going to use the hot glue, but I would use probably wood glue and clamp it or let it set to dry. Let me see what happens when I bend carefully down this end. It's really firm. There. And these guys. Now, like I said, I've had this for many years, so I'm not sure how this one is going to behave for me. In fact, I need to touch up some of the red on the berries. So I'm thinking maybe okay, here's what I want to do instead. I'm going to cut off this top part and use a shorter piece of this, but I might attach the top part again. You can see there's like a gap right in here, like a separate stem. So I'm going to see if I can cut that sprig at the top off. It takes a little work sometimes with these old wire cutters. Put the lid on this glue. Okay. Cutting through the paper. And then, I don't know. See if I can get down deeper in this cutter. What is on here? I don't know what I got on these. This is some kind of glue. Okay, let's see if I can maybe bend it side to side. Ooh. Yeah, you're right, Peggy. Cinnamon is messy like glitter. Okay. See if we can bend this. There we go. Ha! Ta-da! I got it. Got a little wire exposed. Okay. I like that by itself, and maybe layer over it with the other stuff. So let's see if we can. Needle nose pliers. Okay, I'm going to use 2 sets of pliers to try to bend this because my hands want to crush the berries. Let's do here. And this is, and then it will hopefully go this direction, bend over the back of the piece. There we go. There, like so. Okay. Now it's going to slip across the back here. Clamped it down kind of far. Pamela's here. How are you? Okay. Like that. I like that. Okay. And maybe add this up top. I like that too. Still haven't decided if I want to keep the hold on, the red bow. It's a little beat up. I was going to put another ribbon on it. Was my plan. There's not much for bending here because I cut it so short. Let me see if I can use these. Sometimes you just gotta work with it. I like to reuse these sprigs from past years rather than buying new stuff all the time. Okay, so I've got that hooked, but I need to bend these down without crushing the pine cones. Oh, that came out good. Oh, that looks better. That looks so much better. It's kind of shorter, taking up less room. I don't like the red bow on it though, so let's see if we can clip off as much of it as possible. We'll glue these on. We're going to attach the, hold on, what is it? The rope, and then we're going to put the stars on. Okay. I like that. And the other ribbon that I'm going to use. I'm going to get my little tray wet so that hopefully it's easier to wash after we're done. Let me get my ribbon I was wanting to use. It's so cute. It says Merry Christmas. I think this is, I think this is a Hobby Lobby ribbon. I think they have that one. Okay, hot glue should be hot. So let's get underneath this guy. I'm going to put some glue on each side of the stem because I want it at that angle. All the way up here, because that's all going to be covered up with the other stem. And this is probably going to run to the back, so I'm going to let that cool for a second and layer over it with this one. Okay, let's see where we're going to glue it. What do you think so far? You like it? Okay, I'm going to put glue underneath here. I'm going to glue it on the back. Ooh, I got hot glue on my fingernail. Well, I'll have to take that off later. Make sure this is, I don't want it to be sticky on my cardboard, so I don't want to lay it down just yet. See where I need to put the hot glue right underneath. Still sticky. Let's see if I can angle this up in here. There. I'm putting a bunch of hot glue where the two stems overlap so that they will attach to each other. Okay, that's finally cool. I'll probably put, after we're done, like a piece of ribbon over the back to hold that down so it doesn't get knocked around. And now I want my rope to come in. And it's going to hang. Let's see. It's not very long. I hope it's long enough to let me do a slip knot here and lay over the top. We shall see. So if you came in late, this is the Jingle Bell Decor kit. Sorry, it took me a second. Hang on, I need to pull this tight. Let me grab my needle nose. Get all of it. Okay, so it can hang over to the side, it could peek in here, or it could hang over the top. Let me see what I like. I don't want it over the top. It's going to hang off to the side, like that. It could be longer, but I think that's pretty cute. I think it's actually a little cute little accent over there. You know, it's also cute is if you add a tag to this. But we're going to go with the Merry Christmas ribbon, and I'm just going to make a couple of loops. Oh, and then the stars are going to go on. I had wanted to put a star hanging on the rope, but it's not really going to be big enough. So we are going to do the stars around it real quick. So I'm going to put one here, hanging off the side, and one down here on the bottom. And then I have two more. So I'm going to do the little one over here with, whoops, that turned. It's got to set up. And you don't have to put the stars on, and you can do any combination you want. Because there's 4 of them. I need to push those down and get them set. They want to move around until I do that. And then the last one I think I'm going to put up here in the greenery. Let's see where I want it to go. Oh, we're going to put it right up here at the end of this sprig. That's going to be cute. I think that's going to have hot glue. Put some hot glue on this so that it can really get into those little pine pieces. That should set up here in just a minute. Okay, now let's do, I'm letting that set. Isn't that cute? Okay, now I think I'm just going to do, let's see, just a regular single, or do I want to do extra loops? I'm just going to play with this for a second. I don't want it to be too big for the whole thing. I don't want the bow to be the focus. So let's go back to the single. A bow on a star. Hang on. Put your bow a star. You mean put the star on the bow? That would be cute. You could put the little star in the middle of your bow. That would be very cute. Is that what you're talking about, Pam? Okay, so let's play with placement on the bow. Down here, up top, over on the side. I kind of like it maybe coming out the middle of the greenery. I can't figure out what I want to do. This bow is really wonky. It does need more loops. Just the 2 loops are not enough. Okay, we're going to cut it. I'm going to make the loops a little bit smaller than what you see. So let's try this. There's my halfway. We're going to do 2 loops, and then we're going to do 2 loops. Those to be either smaller or the others to be bigger. I might actually need to go right in between, like right where the other bow was. Yep. That's the answer. I'm going to make my loops a little bit bigger than what I've done. I have my halfway point. That's it. Okay. Let's use this ribbon for tying it. We're going to make our loops a little bit bigger than they were. So Survivor bow, I'm not the best at bows, guys. This is just how it works for me. I'm going to do a zip tie. What do I have in here? I have clear and I have red. The red is going to be good because it's going to need to go underneath there. So we'll start off tying with this ribbon on the back. And I know my tails are long. We will trim those here in a second. Oh, this velvet ribbon holds really nicely. You know, make use of what you've got. There we go. And we can adjust our loops if we need to. There we go. They got a little crumpled as I was hold on, they got lopsided, so we're gonna pull this back over toward the middle and shove it back over with that. Better. Okay. We got to reshape this. And I'm going to cut the tails after we get it attached. Okay, so now I could have put the zip tie in here already. Let's see if this, I may have to just go around the whole bow, which is fine. See if I can wiggle it under. Yep, I did. Wiggled it underneath. And now I can attach it to the stem. If I have my zip tie going the right way. If not, we will flip it around. Oh, let's see. I did! I can hear the teeth grab. Ta-da! Okay. I start to tighten it up, but not all the way, because it's going to need to peek out from behind. That's cute. I'm going to turn this toward the front more. Okay, so my zip tie's not too tight. And my ribbon's going to hang down. See, I've got these tails, and I can decide what I want to do with them. So let's clip off the zip tie. I prefer to use wire cutters for this rather than my scissors. And do I want to curl it around, like roll it up and make it come down in a curly Q? I like that. I like that. Let's roll it up. And then bring it down in a little curly cues. I want this one to be tighter. Now, ta-da! Oh, that's cute. Okay, tuck it in. And I'm going to hot glue my bow to the back of this pine cone so it stays facing forward. There you go. What do you think? Do you like it? Well, thank you, Martha. I appreciate it. Oh, it's going this way. I have it this way. So let's let that hot glue set up a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and hot glue one of these ribbons over this guy. That's big. I want a short one, just to help hold that down. So I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue to each side. And I might do a second one. Just for added security. So nothing can catch hold. This one's a little long. There. Now everything is secure. Oh my goodness. I'm going to touch up the little berries that lost their red with my crimson paint. And that is our Jingle Bell Jingle Bell Decor Kit. You can, if you don't put the star too far down here, you can prop it. You can hang it by your bell loop. You can hang it by a rope or a ribbon. That's what we've got. Oh my gosh. Look at it. Isn't it cute? All the little stuff going on with our stars. I'm going to add a little more rust on that tip of that star. Do you like it? I love it. I might add a little more soft rust in between the spots, just like with the paper towel, just so it's not too bright. But that is the kit. It is linked in the comments. Let me see if I can go ahead and pin it, if it'll let me. I don't know. And I have clearly missed a lot of comments, so I will come back and check for any questions that I can answer. I know Christina will too. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Christina, thank you for having me here. If you use my affiliate link, it does help me out, and I appreciate that. But go shop over on Christina's site. You can get the Jingle Bell Decor Kit. You can get the smaller Jingle Bells, and we have more kits from my collection coming soon. I will have some videos for you. Have a great day. See you guys soon. Bye.